Senator Blunt, Rochester.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz, and thank you so much to the witnesses. This is such an important hearing. 5 minutes will not suffice for me. I'll be submitting some questions for the record. I noticed that for Mr. Altman and Mr. Smith, when the question of paint me a picture of the future came up, you actually leaned up in your chair. There was a level of excitement, and that's how I am about the future. When I came into the House of Representatives in 2017, I started a Future of Work bipartisan caucus because I had a concern that, number one, there were certain groups of people that were going to be left behind, but there also, as a country, that we could be left behind. And I had an event where we had everyone walk into the room and use a word cloud and tell me what you think of when you hear the future of work. The biggest word coming in the door was fear. The biggest word walking out the door was opportunity. And so to me, this conversation is so vital to think about the opportunities, but also making sure that we are watching out for ethics, watching out for scams, watching out for that technology does not take over the human. And so I am just grateful for the conversation. And Mr. Altman, I listened to an interview that you gave with Lester Holt maybe a year or so ago, and you talked in that interview about how OpenAI, it wasn't initially even about making a product. It wasn't about the money. And so I know you are incorporated in Delaware, and I understand you've been working with our Attorney General during the previously proposed legislation to transition to a for-profit, not legislation, but to transition to for-profit. And this Monday, OpenAI decided to apply to become a public benefit corporation instead, and to have the PBC govern your nonprofit arm. What went into this decision, and what considerations influenced the timing of the organizational change?
So we never, thank you for the question, Senator, and the chance to explain this. It's a complicated thing that I think has gotten misrepresented, so this is a wonderful forum to talk about it. We never planned to have the nonprofit convert into anything. The nonprofit was always going to be the nonprofit. And we also planned for a PBC from the very beginning. There were a bunch of other considerations about, is it the PBC board that would control the nonprofit somehow, or how our capital structure was going to work, that there was a lot of speculation on, most of it inaccurate in the press. But our plan has always been to have a robust nonprofit. We hope our nonprofit will be one of the best, maybe someday the best resourced nonprofit in the world, and a PBC with the same mission that would make it possible for us to raise the capital needed to deliver these tools and services at the quality level and availability level that people want to use them at, but still stick to our mission, which we've been proud over the last almost decade of our progress towards. So we had a lot of productive conversations with a lot of stakeholders and a lot of lawyers and a lot of regulators about the best way to do this. It took longer than we thought it was going to. I would have guessed that we would have been talking about this last year, but now we have a proposal that people seem pretty excited about, and we're trying to now advance.
And Dr. Su, your company primarily operates in the physical hardware portion of the AI stack. I have a bill with Senators Cantwell and Blackburn called the Promoting Resilient Supply Chains Act, which authorizes the Department of Commerce to strengthen American supply chains for critical industries and emerging technologies. Dr. Su and others, semiconductor and chips manufacturing is critical to advancing the advancement of AI. But we're facing these global supply chain constraints. What specific policies, and I know you mentioned policies as well for supply chains, would we need to adopt to help American companies overcome the supply chain issues and compete in international with our rivals?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. There's no question the semiconductor supply chain and overall supply chains are really critical for us to win the AI race. I think from a semiconductor standpoint, the efforts that have been made to move manufacturing back to the United States have been positive. I think they are a start. There's a lot more that we can do. And one of the most important aspects of it is really to think about it end to end. There's so many steps to go from beginning to end in a semiconductor supply chain, including advanced wafers, including packaging, including the back ends and system test. All of those avenues need to have a footprint in the United States. And then we have many allies around the world, which are very excellent partners as part of the global resiliency in the supply chain. And we would like to see those partnerships continue to flourish.
And last question, if I can. Mr. Smith, how do you see the interdependence between the AI stack sections creating either vulnerabilities or opportunities in the AI supply chain?
I think they create more opportunities than vulnerabilities because it enables companies to do what they do best, and then we can work together. And the world today has an integrated supply chain for anything that you buy. We just don't think about it when we go to the grocery store. I think one of the strengths of the tech sector is that we have, I'll call it a string of pearls, great companies in every layer of the stack. And we're going to need, frankly, more great companies, especially at the applications layer, and that it is how we work together.
Thank you so much. I am out of time, but we will be following up with questions for the record as well as individually. Thank you, and I yield back.